There's a kind of intelligence rarely spoken about. You won't see it in classrooms. No one teaches it, yet everyone feels uneasy in its presence. It doesn't seek recognition. It doesn't shine in the open. It operates quietly, almost invisibly, with precision. You've encountered it before. The man who never raises his voice, but somehow commands the entire room. The woman who smiles politely while moving unseen pieces into place. They don't speak often, but when they do, people pay attention. Not because of volume, but because their words strike like weapons. This is dark intelligence. Once you recognize it, the world changes. This mind doesn't react. It observes. It doesn't beg. It positions. It doesn't struggle. It concludes matters silently. Machiavelli never praised intellect for its brilliance alone. He valued it for its subtle power, its ability to dominate without exposure. If you've always felt different, less soft, more sharp, this is for you, because once you tap into this, you won't be ordinary again. You won't hear this in schools, books, or polite conversations. If people truly understood how dark intelligence functions, they'd fear it long before you made a move. It doesn't start with knowledge. It begins with awareness. At first, you're simply quiet. You watch more than you speak. You listen long enough to notice the cracks in people's stories. You laugh at jokes, not because they amuse you, but because you're studying who craves approval. You aren't cold yet, but you're moving closer. You begin to notice how the world runs on illusion. People fight over trivial things. They defend lies just to protect pride. They raise their voices when they're afraid. They pretend to be strong while falling apart inside, and you're watching it all, slowly decoding the chaos. It starts with one principle. People are predictable when they believe they're safe. That's when you slip in unnoticed. You learn to ask the right questions, not for answers, but to make others reveal themselves. You offer silence, letting discomfort push them to speak. Their emotions write their own confessions. While they think you're harmless, you're quietly gathering everything. Dark intelligence doesn't seek noise. It thrives in stillness, in the spaces where others drop their guard. And your thinking begins to shift. You stop seeing people as who they claim to be. You start seeing leverage, weakness, risk. You spot the liar before they open their mouth, the insecure before they boast, the traitor before betrayal arrives. You become seconds quicker, steps ahead. Because your mind isn't ruled by emotion anymore, it's tactical. That's the turning point. Not when you become smarter, but when you stop being naive. You realize truth matters less than perception. Trust is a tool. Most people deceive themselves and you, and if you can manage those illusions, you can manage them. This is dark intelligence, not IQ, not charm, not hard work. Power through perception. Your words become deliberate, sharp, precise, never wasted. You release truths like slow poison, impossible to trace or undo. You stop defending yourself. You stop justifying choices. You stop reacting to disrespect. Because you've learned how to make others regret without direct conflict. You're no longer following the rules of the game. You're reshaping the game. You never show your entire mind. You don't reveal your goals. You don't expose your pain. Because pain is just more information. You're evolving, not cold, not cruel, but strategic. This is the stage Machiavelli admired most, the silent transformation. When a person stops fitting into a broken system and begins reshaping it. And the advantage, no one notices until it's too late. They still see you as harmless, quiet, ordinary. They don't realize they've already been caught in your design, one you've built over months, maybe years. At this point, you don't chase power, you are power. This is how dark intelligence emerges, not through sudden genius, but through patient hours of watching, analyzing, and building a mind so formidable it never needs to announce itself. This is the new version of you, the version that doesn't chase, because now things come to you, and no one will see it arriving. You've crossed a threshold. You've stopped trying to be liked. You listen more than you speak. And now you're not just intelligent, you're becoming dangerous. But what does that mean? It means you've begun developing qualities that unsettle people, even if they can't explain why. Here are 5 defining traits of dangerous intelligence. Silent, yet powerful. Trait 1. Emotional detachment. The first thing people notice is you're calm. You don't react the way they expect. Insults don't shake you. Pressure doesn't break you. You're no longer ruled by emotions. You study them. Your anger turns into analysis. Sadness becomes strategy. Fear becomes foresight. You don't let feelings control your actions. You let them expose the vulnerabilities of others. While they panic, you calculate. That silence isn't emptiness. It's your mind sharpening. Trait 2, surgical observation. You don't just see people, you dissect them. You notice their hands when they speak, their eyes when they lie, their tone when they want something. You pick up what isn't said. You sense tension shifts when someone hides the truth. You don't need confessions, you already know. This makes you unsettling. People feel exposed in your presence because deep down they know you've spotted their weaknesses. Machiavelli once said, "Promises are necessary when given, but breaking them becomes necessary in the present." You understand this. You expect betrayal. You watch for it before it takes form. Trait 3, controlled presence. When you enter a room, you don't need words to be noticed. Your presence is intentional. Your silence carries more weight than most people's shouting. Why? Because you're not aiming to be entertaining. You're aiming to be unreadable. The dangerously intelligent understand the strength of mystery. You reveal just enough to spark interest, but never enough to become predictable. People are unsettled by what they cannot define. You give them only enough uncertainty to keep them cautious. Real power doesn't come from being seen everywhere. It comes from being missed when you're gone. You become rare. And rarity is power. Trait 4, strategic speech. Most people speak to fill silence. You speak to plant ideas. Every word is deliberate. Every sentence is a signal. You use pauses, tone, and questions as tools. You don't persuade directly. You guide people to persuade themselves. You communicate with precision, distracting, unsettling, influencing. You know when to praise, when to hold back, and when silence says more than any argument. This makes you dangerous, because once you begin speaking, the conversation bends your way, not by force, but by subtle control. Trait 5, unshakable self-reliance. The last trait breaks most people, but strengthens the dangerously intelligent. You no longer depend on others. You don't seek approval, recognition, or even understanding. You validate yourself. When someone has nothing to prove, they become untouchable. Attempts to control you through guilt, shame, or obligation no longer work. The old version of you, the one that needed clarity, loyalty, or affection, is gone. Now, you move strategically. You appear when it serves your purpose. You vanish when absence creates impact. This makes you stronger than titles or weapons, because the person who needs nothing cannot be controlled by anything. These 5 traits set you apart. They don't make you ordinary in the way others expect. They make you different, an anomaly. A quiet force in a world full of noise. People can't explain it, but they feel uneasy around you. That is dark intelligence, and you're only at the beginning. But dark intelligence is meaningless if left unused. Power without action is only a secret. So now we move from observation to execution. You've built the traits. You've sharpened the blade. Now it's time to use it. Here's how to apply dark intelligence every day in plain sight, without detection. 1. Control conversations without dominating them. Most people talk to win. You talk to guide. Let others speak. Let them reveal themselves. Your aim isn't to impress, it's to extract. Ask questions that appear harmless, but go deep. Why do you think that? How did that make you feel? What happened after? These questions lower defenses and make people feel understood. In reality, you're identifying leverage. Then, say just enough to shift their perspective, never enough to reveal yours. You're not in the conversation. You're steering it from within. 2. Use silence as pressure. Most people can't handle silence. They rush to explain, justify, or apologize. You use silence. If someone tries to manipulate you, say nothing. Let them collapse under their own guilt. They expect resistance. You give them stillness, and stillness feels like authority. Pause before speaking. Hold someone's gaze a moment too long. Let them feel exposed. That discomfort is control. No raised voice required. 3. Mirror emotions, then redirect them. If someone is angry, meet their energy. If insecure, act unsure. If proud, appear humble, then flip it. Redirect anger toward another target. Turn insecurity into dependence with subtle compliments. Use pride as leverage through flattery. This is manipulation without force. You don't push people, you guide them into choices they believe are their own. 4. Conceal intentions until the end. After success, never explain your motives. Let others misread you. Let them underestimate you. Then, when the outcome serves you, reveal the truth calmly. They'll realize too late. They were part of your strategy. Nothing haunts more than knowing you helped build your own defeat. That saps power. That saps dark intelligence. 5. Never use power emotionally. This is where most fail. They act from anger. They punish for satisfaction. They strike to prove something. You don't. You act with clear purpose. If you cut someone off, do it quietly. No shouting, no drama, just absence. If someone wrongs you, don't react instantly. Wait, collect. Respond only when it benefits you, not your pride. Dark intelligence isn't revenge, it's correction. Your moves should feel like natural consequences, not personal grudges. 6. Hide your depth. Never show the full extent of your mind. People admire intelligence, but they fear what they don't understand. So reveal only a portion, enough to appear sharp, never enough to expose your strategy. If they think they've figured you out, they'll relax. And when they relax, they make mistakes. The smartest tactic, let them believe they're smarter. They'll step right into the trap they helped create. You don't need a crown to rule. You don't need status to win. Dark intelligence is quiet influence. The ability to move people, shape outcomes, and control environments without ever being identified as the source. This is what Machiavelli meant when he praised the fox over the lion. Anyone can roar. The fox wins by choosing the right step and striking unseen. By now, your mind isn't just sharp, it's weaponized. And they won't see it until it's too late. Because the most dangerous battlefield isn't war, it isn't politics, it's relationships. This is where most people lose themselves, where logic gives way to emotion, where they explain, plead, and give up their power in the name of love, loyalty, or guilt. But with dark intelligence, relationships stop being emotional traps. They turn into power structures, each one a battlefield where control is either gained or lost. You start to see the dynamics clearly. Every conversation is a negotiation. Every compliment may be a form of leverage. Every silence carries meaning. Most reveal too much, too soon. They want approval, They want to be understood. So they hand over their fears, their pain, their past, hoping it earns acceptance. You don't. You remain quiet, not out of coldness, but calculation. You allow others to speak first, to show their patterns, to tie the rope around themselves, not realizing you've handed it to them. You don't overshare. You don't defend your standards. You don't correct their assumptions. Because the less they know, the less they can use. Meanwhile, you learn everything about them. You catch the insecurity inside their sarcasm, the weakness behind their confidence, the agenda within their kindness, and when they test you, you don't fight. You disappear. Because, in your world, disrespect isn't confronted, it's disqualified. You grasp what most never do. Silence is more unsettling than anger. They expect debate. They expect emotion. But when you withdraw instead, they begin to reflect. They worry. They no longer see you as someone to control, but as someone they lost. This is the strength of emotional distance. It makes you rare. It makes you untouchable. Over time, people start adjusting around you, not because you demanded it, but because they feel your standards without you stating them. They notice you aren't chasing approval. You aren't trying to fix anyone. You aren't accessible like others, and that mystery becomes influence. Not through love, not through fear, but through the quiet understanding that you cannot be manipulated. They learn that affection doesn't equal access, that loyalty without strategy is worthless, that being near you is a privilege you can take away at any time. You don't punish with words, you punish with absence. And nothing unsettles a manipulator more than being ignored by the one they couldn't control. Dark intelligence doesn't strip you of heart. It sharpens your precision. You don't attach by default. You decide who earns your presence. And even then, you never reveal all of yourself. This separates you from the rest. They chase validation. You pursue clarity. They offer love to avoid loneliness. You offer silence to expose desperation. They demand answers. You stay still, and that stillness becomes frightening, because it shows you saw through them and decided they weren't worth a reply. By this point, you don't chase apologies. You don't argue for your value. You don't repeat expectations. You simply step away when the energy shifts. And those left behind are forced to question why. That's when regret sets in. You didn't yell. You didn't explain. Your absence said it all. This is how you build power in relationships. Not by controlling others, but by controlling yourself. You don't need affection. You don't need recognition. You don't even need to be understood, because you've built something stronger. A presence that cannot be manipulated, and a mind others won't dare challenge. That is how you dominate in silence. By now, you've changed. You don't respond the way you once did. You don't explain, argue, or overextend. You've become still, but not passive, quiet, but not weak. That's what dark intelligence does. It sharpens you into a weapon that never needs to be drawn. You can enter a room without speaking, and eyes still turn, not because of charm, not because of display, but because you carry an energy that feels unpredictable and untouchable. You no longer need to dominate because you've moved beyond the game. People underestimate you, and that's your advantage. You wear masks when needed. You speak in layers. You leave no trace of your influence. You've become unreadable, unshakable, unstoppable. This is the final form. Not a loud genius, not a public mastermind, but a ghost in the system, moving the pieces while others still try to learn the rules. You don't seek revenge, you erase. You don't need to win debates. You win outcomes, because true power isn't displayed, it's felt. And you've become the kind of person who doesn't need to be seen to be respected. The kind who doesn't chase, but attracts. Who doesn't react, but designs. Who doesn't break, but watches others collapse under the weight of your silence. You've stopped playing their game. You've built your own. That's what happens when intelligence turns cold, when observation becomes prediction, when emotion stops being your master and becomes your instrument. This isn't about being better, it's about being smarter than the system itself. Machiavelli once said, "Men are driven by two principal impulses, either by love or by fear. But dark intelligence creates a third path, control without either." They don't need to love you. They don't need to fear you. They only need to know you're still watching, quietly, carefully, permanently. And now, if you've followed this far, you're not just curious. You're ready. Ready to stop being predictable. Ready to stop being controlled. Ready to become dangerously intelligent. So here's your next step. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and step deeper into a world where power is silent and intelligence is lethal. Because this is only the beginning.